What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we will be talking about Seraph Snow. Now, disclaimer, I don't know everything about every deck, so we actually were able to get a deck list from today's locals first place Overdress deck list. He's gone undefeated 2 weeks in a row since set 4 dropped. First time with Bob Sarga and second time with Seraph Snow. Shout out to Eddie from Variant Guardians. He's a mod over there. Does a lot of great work, so his socials and stuff is going to be in the description below, so check him out if you have some free time. And of course, if you like at least one part of the video today, don't forget to like, comment, and or subscribe. I'm super excited, guys. Let's go ahead and get into this.
All right, guys, this is Eddie with a locals deck profile. We went 3-0 today with Prison. Self-explanatory list, so let's get into it. So first things first, we're going with 4 Pure Light. Nothing to say about that card. Card's insane. We're going with 2 Taser Lage. I like this card a lot better than Perio. I feel the rest to shut off an attack will gets your opponent to commit more into like wasting resources to try to field at least 3 lanes. But yeah, that's about it. Next, the best card in the game for the promo, Makarite. If you can get a hold of these, great. If not, I don't know an alternative for you to play. You need this card to make the deck function. 4 Aggro Rouge, big shield, a beater if you need it, front row prison, simple stuff. 4 Cuff never came up because I didn't play the mirror match today, but ripping cards out of your opponent's hand and like forcing them to draw leads to deck out scenarios, and you're just kind of adding to the prison count. 4 PGs, no explanation needed. 4 Chevalstud, another prison card, draws you a card once you're at 3 or more prison, useful. 3 Suppressed Gleamer. I felt like I needed the 4th a lot today, but 3 is a fine number to play. Clones itself if you have 3 or more in prison when you play it. And the prison triggers, we're gonna go Rainbow, over trigger, 4 front, heals, 3 draw, and then your crits. Not much to say. The hardest matchup I think today was Laura Nerl, and that's because it's Laura Nerl. She's gonna get big and swole. Yeah.
So my camera kind of died after the deck profile, but Eddie gave a ton of great post-deck profile, post-tournament commentary on Seraph Snow, what he thinks works, what he thinks doesn't, and why he chose a more control variant rather than playing things like the Lemonon or something a little bit more situational like the grade 2 order. But maybe you don't like a card or 2 in this list, or you want to try some other concepts with the list before you decide on the spice that's nice. I have just 3 cards up here, but there is a myriad of cards you guys can play. First, let's talk about the Lemonon. He did go over this when I asked him, like, does he want to make any changes to the deck? And frankly, he likes playing the current grade 3 he has in there. It allows you to rest opponent's card when called, so you can get rid of a problematic card like he did with my Trick Moon in round 2, or something really aggressive that he knows is going to mess him up. He can just force rest that once per turn, which can be a little bit better than more power and more crit that you get from the Lemonon. I think Lemonon is mainly a more aggressive way to play the deck, but if you're looking for some more control that it's not quite turquoise, I think Eddie's grade 3 option is a little stronger in those regards. We also have the grade 2 order. If you don't like end picks and you happen to find yourself fighting a lot of Magnolias, this grade 2 order can be your saving grace, allow you to really just get rid of their board. But it is, I don't want to say it's expensive, but it's definitely situational more than anything else. And of course, Bag Mortar, you don't really need it. I will say that when I talked to Eddie about the Chevalstud grade 1, he did say that frankly it's not bad. It's just there's a lot of game states where Chevalstud doesn't get you what you need. So things like Bag Mortar or Turquoise might be able to give you what you want out of it. But as far as making sure things get into prison, sometimes Chevalstud just doesn't cut it. It doesn't work all the time, and he found out that while playing, sometimes he drew it when he needed it, and other times he drew it and it was too late, he was already set up. But Bag Mortar, you know, it's pretty good in the late game, allowing you to bind cards from the drop zone. Also, it's pretty potent in the early game too, but not everyone's playing it. It's just a card you can mess around with. And of course, I didn't put it here, but Turquoise is still really good. If you want to play it, go ahead. Yeah, there's a ton of stuff to play. This is not all encompassing. These are just a couple of cards I wanted to touch on. Here is our deck log, just so we can kind of see the deck from an easier to look at format and kind of talk about some of the changes that Eddie is moving towards with the list. So first and foremost, he wants to add more draw triggers. This is because he wants to be able to be a little bit more consistent with drawing into a Seraph Purelight, which is the big boss monster, the deck you want to see this card. Your whole game plan is tied to getting Seraph Purelight on turn 4, so having more draws just means you get more of your combo pieces and less of the hassle. This does mean that he might end up dropping more of his crits in the future, and we saw this with some other JP lists. If you kind of stay locked into what they're doing, is lists like Seraph and even grade 4 mag. Some of them still do play high counter draws because drawing into grade 4 is so crucial, and at the same time you have so much pushing power with the decks that losing a crit or 2 doesn't really matter. But I'm kind of interested to see where he's going to take the list as far as triggers are concerned. Of course, we also talked about Shovel Stud at some point in this video. I can't remember if it's before or after, but yeah, you don't need this all the time. It's a little bit situational, but that doesn't mean that it's bad. It still draws you a card, it still puts stuff in the prison, but when you're already set up, this doesn't give you a lot of value. And this is kind of where we're talking about the other grade 1 where Eddie feels like you get a lot of value from, is the Gleamer. He feels like this card may be a 4 of rather than a 3 of. 3 is perfectly fine. For the Vanguard 0 players, it's like playing 3 of the grade 1 or grade 2 Hamscape because it's just enough. But playing that extra copy just gets you a little bit more consistent. It's a 13k booster that calls itself. It's pretty good. And finally, he did talk about the Rouge. Rouge isn't bad, as it is just a really good 15k beater, and it's also a 15k shield that's really easy to get that effect off. So it's really good offensively and defensively, but he feels that you might not need 4 Rouge. You could probably get away with 3 Rouge, and we may see the Rouge count decreasing, help us find the Gleamer or the Shovel Stud, kind of giving us that last copy of Gleamer. This isn't everything he talked about, but this is kind of the big point. So hopefully this is helpful.